Assalamu alaikum, welcome to ECL Easy Computing Lectures with another topic from System Analysis and Design. Today we will talk about waterfall development methodology. Before going to start this video, please like, share and subscribe this channel. Thank you. So first we will talk about the waterfall development. In waterfall development, as shown in figure 2.1, it can be seen that the analyst and user proceeds sequentially from one phase to the next. Here you can see we can move from planning to analysis phase, then to design phase, then implementation phase, and in the end we obtain an information system. And this is the step-by-step procedure, and we have to adopt this procedure. And the dotted arrows show that we can back from analysis phase to planning phase, or we can go back from design phase to analysis phase, or we can go back to implementation to design phase. As we know that every phase have key deliverables, and the key deliverables for each phase are typically voluminous. It means that there is a huge detail which consists of number of pages and are presented to the approval committee and the project sponsor for approval as the project moves from phase to phase. It means that in every phase we have to discuss about the key deliverables of each phase to the approval committee and the project sponsor. And once the one phase is completed, suppose that we have started with the planning phase, and when first phase is approved, then after that the phase ends, the next phase will begin. Means that all the requirements that when we have completed in the planning phase and we have finished that phase, then we will move further to the next phase. And all we know that as like waterfall moves in the forward directions, so it means that as our project progress from phases to phases, it also moves in the same direction. It is also possible to go backward from one phase to another phase, but it is very difficult to move from forward phase to backward phase. It's like an example, you can say that a fish trying to swim upstream in a waterfall, then it is very difficult for fish to move back and to swim against the waterfall. If we talk about the advantages of waterfall development methodologies, so we can see that the waterfall development methodologies have the advantages of identifying requirements long before programming begins, and on the behalf of these reasons we have a very minor changes in the requirement. So it means that this waterfall development methodology help us to minimize the requirement changes in the proceeding of the project. The disadvantage of waterfall development methodology is that the design of the project must be completely specified before the starting of the programming. A long time elapsed between the completion of the system proposal in the analysis phase and the delivery of the system, and then the testing is treated as an afterthought in the implementation phase. Because we have already talked about that every phase have some key deliverables, but in addition we can say that the deliverables are often a more poor communication mechanism. So it is important that important requirements may be overlooked in the volume of the documentation. So it might be possible that when you are going to start and make a documentation on the given project, so might be you overlook most important requirement that you need to be added in that project. So if the project team misses any important information from the documentation, then what will happen? Then we need an expensive post implementation programming, then that will help out to find that misses information. And due to this, what will be the disadvantage? The disadvantage that might be possible the user which is going to use this system may forget the original purpose of the system, since because there is a time elapsed between the original idea and the actual implementation. Definitely, if we convince our users that we are going to deliver this system in 1 month or 2 months, and we deliver that system to our customer or our user after 1 year or 2 years, so it is huge chances that the user may forget the original purpose of that system. So if we talk about the today's dynamic business environment, if a system that met the existing environmental conditions during the analysis phase may need considerable rework to match the environment when it is implemented, because there is a gap due to the time, so there is a need to rework on that phase. So what will happen if we will go again for rework? Then this rework requires going back to the initial phase. It means that we have to start from the initial phase again and make that changes through each of the subsequent phases in turn. Means that it will also again take our much time to be reworked on that phase. Okay, now let's talk about the two important variants of waterfall development. There are two important variants of waterfall development. First is called parallel development, and the second is called V model methodologies. So, first we will talk about the parallel development. As shown in figure 2.2, we will discuss in the next slide that instead of doing the design and implementation in sequence, which means that we already discussed that in the SDLC, first we have to complete one phase, then we will move in the other phase. Like first we will finish the implement planning phase, then we will move forward to the next phase. But in the parallel development, this is different from that sequence. So what we have to do in the parallel development, the project is divided into series of sub projects that can be designed and implemented in parallel. It means that we will divide our project into sub projects, and we will work on that design and the implementation of all sub projects in the same time. So once these all sub projects are completed, so there is a final integration of the sub pieces, then the system is deliverable. It means that once we will complete all the sub project, then we will combine all these sub project, and after that we will get a system which is able to delivered. Okay, you can see the parallel development figure. Here you can see that we have divided our project into three sub projects, that is also known as sub project 1, 2 and 3. So what will happen in parallel development, that these sub project will parallel design and implement, and after that once all the sub projects 1, 2 and 3 will be completed, after that we will integrate all these three sub projects. After the integration we will get the required system. But when we talk about the disadvantage of the parallel development, then we can see that where parallel development help us to reduce the time requirement to deliver a system, it also have the disadvantage, because if any of the sub project remain incomplete, so we cannot integrate all the sub projects. So there should be the condition that if all the sub projects will be completed, then we will be able to deliver the system. So for the parallel development, the main advantage is that it is less time taking, but the disadvantage is that if any of the sub project will not be completed, then we are unable to integrate all the other sub projects, and might be possible it will take time to deliver our system to our users. Okay, if we take our view of the today lecture and conclude our lecture, so we can say that we have talked about the waterfall development, and in which waterfall development there is a procedure where we complete one phase, then we move to the second phase. But when we talk about the two variants of the waterfall development, one is a parallel and second is the V model. So today we have only talked about the parallel development. In parallel development, we have seen that we divided our project into three different sub projects, and after the completion of these sub projects we integrate all these sub projects and then we deliver the systems to our customer. So the advantage of the parallel development is that it reduces the time, but meanwhile it have the disadvantage. The disadvantage is that once we have suppose three sub projects and two are completed, one is not completed, then we are unable to integrate all the project and we are unable to deliver our system to the users. So this is all about the today lectures. If you feel easy and found these lectures good for you, so please like, share and subscribe this channel. Thank you.